Peace, fam. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This is Oracle Deborah with the Oracle Deborah podcast on YouTube. Yes, I am giving my scalp some air to breathe. Just rocking a little bit of braids today. Mostly makeup free because, I'm still having some, I think it's a bacterial issue with my eyes, this eye, even though this eye is looking a little, like it's struggling too. So anyway, but I'm here. I'm here today. So I'm going to get right into it, but of course, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. I was doing I was revamping my board this morning and my whiteboard, okay, not my what you all consider the vision board. I don't call it a vision board anymore. But I was revamping my whiteboard and I literally wiped everything off of there, started from scratch. And then it dawned on me that September is going to be heavy duty. And I don't mean, or I don't know if it's going to be a bad heavy duty or a great heavy duty or a mix. It's probably a mix of it. And but the reason I say this is because, almost every month we have like some sort of portal. Like in May, 5-5 portal. If the year adds up to 5, then we would have a 555 portal. I remember in 2010 we had a 10-10-10 portal, which was interesting, but really if you added to 2010, that was something different. So 2008, 10-10 of 2008 was, a major portal. And we all know that the financial crisis, the housing bubble occurred, and the financial bubble occurred in 2008. Okay. But for this year, 2025 is a number 9 year, and that's the year of endings, right? So I'm sure a lot of us might be experiencing some, you know, especially with some retrogrades, we're having to review things, maybe go back and reassess some things before, it gets moved forward, before the planet moves forward, before those issues move forward, or if cycles continue, so the retrogrades are in a way kind of a reflection of the endings because we are in a 9 year. um, 2012, 2025. I don't know why I said 2012. It's interesting because his background making is probably making me think of when they predicted the end of the world in 2012. So that's really interesting. Anyway, 2025 is a 9 year, 9 is endings. Okay. So there's probably some deep ebbs and flows going on in your life because there is a cycle ending. There is a I do like to call them cycles, but it could be like a season of something ending. It could be relationships ending. It could be your way of living ending. If you struggled, maybe this is like the tail end of that, and you're hopefully looking forward to some new energy, right? Some in tarot is the ace energy or something like new beginnings. But if you've been on a high ride for a long time, which, technically, if we think about a lot of things happening with celebrities in the world, and, they're, they've lost quite a bit of money, like, or their way of life, if they end up being in jail, something like that, that's an ending too, right? So loss of freedom, loss of resources, especially if you've been on this particular wave, so to speak, for quite a while. In terms of a cycle, it just could be a life cycle. It just could just be an ebb in your world that's coming to an end. I wish I had my camera yesterday on me when I took my dog out to, do his business, because I tell you no lie, this huge, try not to curse, this huge butterfly just went right by my face and landed on a tree limb right in front of me. And I looked at this butterfly, of course, because it made its presence known to me, right? And oh, my eye is bothering me. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that, beloveds. Someone was at my door, and I was like, "You're not dropping off a package. What do you want?" So, just some solicitation. Okay, so, oh man, where was I? Remember 2009. So, endings could be jobs, relationships, cycles, um, patterns, you know, maybe something that you've been working on. I actually have a video coming out where I'm talking about manifesting and what that really means. The etymology of the word manifest is not the way that we are using it, or at least the way I'm perceiving the way that the root word is laid out is not the way I have perceived um, and have been using it, manifesting. So I am actually going to work and get that video out. So stay tuned for that. But so 9 year, okay. I'm trying to like fit all this information in a very short video. So 999, so September 9, 2025, which equates to a 9 if you add up 2, 2, 5. Okay, 4 plus, 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. 999. That's a portal. That's portal energy. It's a endings. So triple nine is magnifying endings 3 times over, right? Um, so let me do this because oh, okay, can't do that. Let's try it this way. I just want to give you some basic. This person is just lingering around my block, not knocking on doors, standing in the middle of the street. I already told them that there is no solicitation to be done on this block. She's on the phone. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to like, yeah. All right, so sorry, distracted again. 999 is represented by spiritual awakening and enlightenment. So they say, I don't have any research to prove or disprove any of this. This is just kind of what's out here on Google University. Um, in numerology, 999 is associated with completion. We know that. Wisdom and spiritual enlightenment, suggesting the end of one phase and the beginning of another, right? Which is my uh, understanding of the 9 number, right? That's generally the inner and under and overstanding of the number 9 in numerology as a whole. Okay, so we're just taking it on face value because again, this is just the crux of what we're dealing with in numerology. 999 often signifies that you are prepared to move on to the next stage of your life. Yes, that's what I'm getting. Symbolizes the completion of one chapter. That's a good way of putting it, and the start of a new one and fresh perspectives. I like that, definitely on the fresh perspective side. Overall, 999 encourages letting go of old patterns to embrace new possibilities. Now, let me just pause right there, okay? Because a lot of times we cannot move on to new possibilities. And quite frankly, I pulled some cards this weekend because I was asking some very specific questions. And when the Six of Swords, which is a moving on card, peacefully moving on, is in reverse, It was very like the interpretation was very blunt. It's like you are stuck and you will not move on, and you're going back to old habits, troubles. You're going back to things that are troubling. Yada yada yada. It was very blunt. The message was very blunt. But the download again, I got in a little bit of research, actual research I did today on why it is difficult for many people, many of us, to move on in certain areas of our life. It's because when we experience certain things in our life, it affects our actual physical brain, the amygdala, the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex. It affects the nervous system. Um, so these things get programmed. And in one case, I think the hippocampus shrinks, and the amygdala kind of keeps this loop going where it's like, oh my God, you're in danger, you're in danger, you're in danger, right? And so the amygdala, my understanding is the amygdala and the hippocampus become best buddies and they keep talking and keep communicating the same loop, which keeps um, us stuck, basically. So if you're having a problem moving on, if you're having issues shaking those old things, letting go. Sometimes it's not as simple as letting go. Maybe you got to dig a little deeper and deal with some of the more complex areas in life that has affected the brain, the actual brain, um, and develop patterns to help rewire. I'll say it, rewire the brain. Okay. So I just wanted to put a little pause there to not beat up on yourself, because that's what's happening. It's not as simple as just letting go. There is more going on here. All right, so getting back to 999, and not to say not to stop trying, like keep trying, but mindfulness plays a big part of that. Being mindful, not multitasking, trying to stay focused on the task that you're doing. I started doing periodically some Tai Chi because that forces me to slow everything down because I end up being a type A when I get up in the morning, do this, do that, da 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 da. Productivity is like um, what gets me going in the morning, but the Tai Chi is really slowing. If you do yoga, do that. As long as you're not getting injured, you know. Journaling, of course. When you're eating, be mindful, tasting every, literally every savory bite of what you're eating. If you are doing something like dishes or housework or gardening, I tend to be a little more mindful when I'm gardening because I'm dealing with dirt and, there's things out there. So I think gardening is a good mindful thing if you can do that. All right. So moving on. 999. Okay, this is 999 is a sign from angels that you're about to reach the end of a major life cycle. It's a message of transformation, spiritual enlightenment, and new beginnings. Okay, so now that reminds me of the butterfly. All right, let me go back. That whole door knocking thing just really threw my whole thing off because I totally forgot about the butterfly. I saw this butterfly came whooshing, like literally in front of my face, landed on the limb of a tree standing in front of me. And it stayed there while I had time to observe it. And I kept saying, I wish I had my phone on me. And I wanted to touch it, but I didn't want it to fly away. So I patiently tempered myself and observed this butterfly. And it was, your average butterfly. It was yellow at the top. But what stood out about this butterfly, besides the fact that it was friggin' large, it was a really big butterfly. Okay. It wasn't, sometimes you get the little tiny ones. You're like, is that really a butterfly? And then you get your average butterfly. But this was a pretty big butterfly. And like I said, it had the yellow going on at the top, but at the bottom, there was like its blue design going on at the bottom. I've never seen that. But as it whizzed past me, not to mention the fact that it was large, it was different. And I was like, there's something different about this butterfly. What is it? It reminds me of Halloween. it reminds me like of a bat. And that's exactly kind of like, because at first I said Scorpio, it reminds me of death, but there was not really black. It was yellow at the top and then blue, like the blue, like bat design at the bottom. This color, as a matter of fact, of this background. So, and I stood there and watched it and I said, this is definitely bat energy. So I came home and I, looked it up and, what do you get when, for the bat energy? And honestly, I don't remember. Okay. Um, oh, I looked up a bat uh butterfly. It was really like the design of it. And I think it, yeah, definitely had that bat like energy. But it wasn't black. That's the thing. It was not black. Um, uh, I said the bat design. I just want to do this very quickly. Um, Both can fly with their wings, but okay. So I don't have the page I pulled up or the research thing that I pulled up yesterday on that. But it definitely had that bat energy going on. Why am I bringing up the butterfly? This is not good. Maybe because it reminded me a little bit of Scorpio and Scorpio's transformation. Butterfly is transformation. Um, and transformations and endings and beginnings. And that technically is does align with the nine energy, which nine is endings slash beginning. It is an actual ending where after nine you start back at number one. So it is an ending and coming upon a beginning. So yeah, so that was why I brought up the butterfly. This is crazy. I almost want to do this all over again. Maybe I could cut it out and let me see how if I can clean this up. All right. I said we have a triple portal. So maybe all of that was to give you some background, some context, everything of 999, right? So September 9, 2005 is a 999 portal. Okay. Now, September 18, 2025 is also a 999 portal because 18 breaks down to a 9. So 9 days later, oh my God, this is getting wild. So September 9 is the 999 portal. 9 days later, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm messed up. I'm messed up right now because things are starting to unfold as I'm talking about this. 9 days later is 918, okay? And that's a 999 portal, 999 portal. That's the second one. And then I was finishing as I was completing my messages on my whiteboard. I was like, well, 27 is also 27 also adds up to a 9. So we have three 999 portals. 9 days after, so 9, 18, 27. And these are all separated by 9 days. Sorry for the interruption. 999 portal. We're having three in September, all spaced out 9 days. So after September 9, we're going to have another portal on September 18th, 9 days later, September 18th, because 18 breaks down to number 9. And then 9 days after the 18th, which is the 27th, we're going to have yet another 999 portal. This is freaking amazing. This is really powerful. Um, I mean, I tend to like to see how the energy plays out, but in this case, when we're talking about endings, uh, I mean, we could see some really. This could be the official ending of a war of the war or wars, because there's a couple going on. You know, that could take place on one of the portals. It could be, the maybe the end of, because they're trying to build this civil war. So I don't know if something's going to get exposed with that. Yeah, well, actually, it's already kind of exposed. So I don't know if something's going to blow up with that. In another portal, I just feel like we really need to prepare ourselves. And this isn't a scare tactic. Represents pets, it represents nutrition, it represents known enemies. It's your work, your daily work, routines. So jobs can be affected, routines can be affected, your pets could be affected. Um, there may be an exposure of enemies that you didn't know about at one point that become more exposed. This may be the ending of some known enemies that you've had, and something comes to some sort of resolution. This is happening in Virgo season, sixth house energy, um, 999 energy. So again, this 999, they say is also a spiritual enlightenment, which honestly for me, I have to work more on the actual physical part of life and not the spiritual. I get in the, because I could get up in the clouds and stay there, kind of thing. Um, Completions, wisdom. That's basically what nine means. Everything I'm looking at, um, it is boiling down to completions, something that is completing, something that was significant in your life, a significant phase, a significant cycle, ending of old habits, beliefs, relationships, and the beginning of newness, because with every ending, there is a beginning. Um, some say to pay more attention to beginnings than endings. Focus your energy on progressing to the next cycle of your life. Keep in mind that when you see 999 repetitively, there are multiple meanings, and it's important to use your intuition to figure out what 999 means to you, which is probably why I'm grasping here, because I know that is not one set rule or definition for everybody. I mean, we're all different. We have all our different paths, specific paths that we're on. Let's see. So keep that in mind that these are not rock solid. These are just some additional guides, things to be aware of. And I'm sure you have something you want to add to the mix. Could be a strong urge to feel destiny trying to steer you in the right course. I mean, honestly, to me, this is a great time to really get into your journaling or your meditation. Slow down, get into some breathing exercises, tap in to your higher self. That would be my advice. Tap in to your higher self, because this is specifically very powerful. I don't know. I'm sure it has happened before, you know, but I'm just saying this is probably one of the most unusual transits I've ever seen. Usually every month you'll get a portal. You might get a double portal or something like that later down the road. But this is a triple nine portal. Three times. It's a triple portal for nine, for the number nine. Triple nines and a triple portal. This is super powerful. This is this is this is crazy powerful, honestly. Um, set some intentions, if you will. I would say yes, set some intentions, some ideas, some plans, some goals. Um, whatever you've been tapping in within, and bringing that out. You're gonna, if you, I promise you, you need to meditate. You need to do some deep breathing. You need to journal. You need to do some salt baths. You need to go to the ocean, go to the mountains, go to wherever you can tap, go into nature, like wherever you can tap into the best way to tap into your higher self. You can even like do some hypnosis videos, some journal ones to, you know, um, to tap in to your deeper self. I'm just saying that we need to be doing something, because those folks that manipulate the people in this matrix and all that stuff, I promise you, they already got something in the mix. So, and I do it because they're doing it. Do it because this is a very strong energy. I feel it very strongly. And we're a month away, less than a month away, but this is 8/18. Okay. So, you know, this is a month away from 9/18, 9 days less than the 9/9, the first 9/9 portal. So maybe this is why I'm feeling this so intensely. And I said that I promised that I would start like uh serving, if you will. I don't really like that word, but serving from afar, which means, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm picking up, which lately has been horrible. I've been picking so much and dealing with so much energy that I know is not mine. So, I feel like the universe is saying to me, we still need you, not in the church sense. I think the universe knows I'm not going back there in that sense anymore. But the collective still needs my voice. The collective still needs me. And I guess the universe is saying, you don't get what's really going on. So I'm gonna have to put you through this so that it will incite you to raise your voice, which is what I've been doing lately. Um, and yeah, I'm having a hard time. I can't do it. Once I get into that place where there's so much injustice going on, my voice is going to be magnified. People are going to get it on the other end, and not in a nasty way, but definitely in an intense way. And I'm guessing that a lot of you all are going through something very intense because, I'm being used. That's the message that I got, that I'm being used to speak for those who are not being heard. That's exactly what I'm getting. So I feel like I don't have to go through everything in order to empathize or have compassion or sympathy with other folks. This is why, I bear my, if you will, cross, and I'm not eager to bear other people's crosses. You feel me? So, yeah. So I will serve from afar. And by this, I mean, I will send, if those of you who take prayers, I'll send out the prayer, energy, Reiki, whatever, just to be devoted to serving, but from afar, because I don't need, I feel like I could do that and you guys will get it. And I know you'll get it. And this will keep my energy freed up, because my energy has definitely been bogged down like all summer. Um, over these issues. All right. So what else? So another meaning is accept that the universe has a better plan for you. Okay. So release control. In some cases, you may need to be a little more vulnerable, less clingy to situations. But when this like you only have one income coming in, and you're saying you gotta let go of your job, open up to a different perspective. That's going to really help. Okay, because it's not going to put you in that fight or flight mode. Because I definitely don't want to perpetuate any of that energy. And so I'm trying to figure out this one. The power of forgiveness changes your future. So if you're carrying unhealed wounds and guilt from the past, yes, this is normal. Feel what you feel. I got actually a great message today. Hey, look, and I just said I was served from afar, and I literally just got it. I only get a text when people are hurting. That's the only time I get a text. You know, I have a distant, very distant friend, if you will, who has been trying to reach out to me all summer, and I have just said no. I'm just not engaging in that. And I did not, and I just ignored all the DMs. And then for some reason today, like I get why am I getting a message about why this person is tagged? I don't know. So I go to the Facebook page, and he's having the time of his life. He's like traveling, though not just the country in America. He's traveling abroad, or I shouldn't say abroad, but traveling outside of the country. And he's just having a great time. And I thought, okay, I'm glad to see you're happy, but why are you reaching out so much to me when you're on the road and having this amazing summer and, taking this moment to live your best life? So, what is it? So I just say it can only be, yeah, and I have been getting messages like tarot reads, like somebody's trying to reach out to you. Somebody's trying. And I was just like, and I would get a message, like a DM, or it's not even a direct DM. It's like, here's a video. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know what to do with this. So I'm not doing anything with it, but I'm just seeing this person living their best summer or having an amazing summer. Maybe they were in the trenches and have come up for air and decided to travel and just doing their thing. And you know, there it is. There I am on their mind. And I promise you that it would be much of nothing. This person is waiting, intentionally waiting for me to just reach out so they could just say, okay, I got my feed. Okay, this is very vampirish. I'm seeing a lot of this since the movie Sinners, right? A lot of vampirish kind of energy. What can I feed off of? She's usually very upbeat and positive, and yeah, all of that. So anyway, so yeah, I'm glad we're on this part about forgiveness because I do forgive myself, like for putting myself in a position where people feel like, they could come and feed off of me and then go. I can't do that anymore. And you shouldn't be doing that either. Like maybe this is what the endings too is about, is like recognizing where we have become sacrificial, lambs, if you will, for people to come in, feed off us, and then go away. And then we're left holding, that bag, or left feeling empty, or, having to redirect our focus because it is very distracting. So, all of that. I have an incredible energy. I have nieces and nephews that I haven't been around in decades, right? Because of their parents and choices and things like that. And they still remember me from that little moment that I did those things with them because it was very mindful. I paid attention to them. I focused on them in that moment. I was genuine, I poured out love in them, and they remember these things. And some of them are in their 40s and their 50s. They remember. Because, I was an aunt at 5. I was an auntie at 5. So, you know, they remember. Anyway, all right. So let's get back to, this was supposed to be a very short video. And these people have really distracted me, but I'm back. Okay. Forgiveness. So 999 could be that you're carrying unhealed wounds and guilt from the past. Um, the universe may be nudging you to move to the next chapter of your life, and this requires you to stop replaying unpleasant memories that pull you back to the past. Oh my gosh. Uh, I don't believe I have to go over this again because I just talked about how the brain changes when you have experienced very unpleasant circumstances in your life, whether it's trauma, whether it's PTSD, whatever that thing is, or those things, or that period of time that you dealt with something that really traumatized you in some shape, form, or fashion. That trauma changes the brain. So I think now I'm getting a little annoyed because while this information is helpful in a sense, right? But it's not helpful in this sense because they didn't do maybe enough research to know that it might be impossible to do what they're telling you to do for this thing to work. This is why people are they're traversing these areas of spirituality and getting frustrated over time, because while there's a great deal of benefits and it can keep you lingered for quite a long time, at some point you look and you're like, this is not working. You feel like you're reverting back to what you did before. Some In this particular case, I can't speak on everything because I see so many perspectives, honestly. I see so many perspectives on things, which is why I try to slow down. And I sometimes talk too slow, as some New Yorker told me, you're slow talking, country bumpkin. I'm not from the country. My brain is, and I'm trying to force it to slow down. Replaying unpleasant memories that's pulling you back in the past is because your your traumatic experience has affected your physical brain, the amygdala, the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, the nervous system. All of that has been affected by this thing or this period of time or whatever that you've gone through that has resulted in the flashbacks. A lot of women who got abortions reported to me, and these are all different women who did not know each other. They didn't really report to me. I was actually out there doing a survey and asking questions, and they confided in me. They trusted me. But they all reported the same thing, as they got flashbacks, which tells me, in this case, that it was a very traumatic experience. And we know that it is, even though some celebrate it as if it's a great thing. It is a very traumatic process. I'll put it that way. Based on what others have told me, I have not had this. I have not experienced it and chose not to. Um, wow, this is getting really heavy. What you can do, all right, if there are unhealed wounds, if guilt's coming up, if shame's coming up, the hurt is coming up, the flashbacks keep coming back, right? And you've journaled, you've done this, the meditation, you've done rituals, all these things, and it keeps coming back. Maybe it's not the moon energy. Maybe it's because your brain, your physical brain, has been affected. In some areas like the hippocampus, it will shrink. The amygdala will enlarge because it's remembering all of that, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, whatever mode you're in to protect you. Um, the prefrontal cortex is coming into play. Your nervous system is coming into play. Um, so it's not so easy as to say, I'm letting go. You can say that, you can put it on what you might call your vision board, you can journal about it, you can do all these things, and it will help lessen the impact or help you to deal with it better or maintain it. Or maybe, there is really no controlling it because it keeps coming back. What happens though is if you are doing the generic work of the meditation, the breathing, the yoga, the journaling, the rituals, the baths, the water, getting out in nature, walking barefoot in grass, all these things and more are very helpful to help you manage the discomfort when it comes back because it keeps coming back. Um, and science says that your brain can be restored because it's been altered. It can be restored. So if you're going to commit to stop replaying, as this is saying, these unpleasant memories, then you're going to have to focus on the root cause, which is your physical brain at this point, because that's where things are. I even focused at one point on the nervous system. You're going to have to focus on the brain. And they talk about the lack of sleep, the insomnia, which I suffered from, the weight loss or weight gain, different things can play out as a result of this, okay, the PTSD or whatever. So I'm saying all this to say is forgiveness may not be as easy, of course, as people are saying, but what makes it easier is just like the forgiveness is more for yourself, or you forgive yourself first, really nurturing your inner world. Um, a high level of that, really nurturing yourself, um, really helps you in this process. Whether or not your brain can be restored to prior to that, because maybe some of the stuff has been going on all your life. Um, these are just managing the unpleasant memories. That's basically it. And it may lessen the impact for the most part, but there may be times when you'll become full blown dysregulated if something comes up. But what I can say is if you experience that, you will have gained so much knowledge and experience in managing it that you will recognize right away, I am totally out of sorts right now, or whatever you call it, I'm dysregulated, whatever that word you use, like effed up, whatever. Uh, and you'll remember, this part is good. You'll remember, okay, this is how I handled it before, and I didn't like the outcome because I had to deal with the blowback. So I want to do something different. So really, at this point, you're just managing the letting go portion of those unpleasant memories. Oof. Um, I feel like I need to get going. Yeah, because this was supposed to be a short thing. What else? The law of cause and effect states that whatever you put out in the universe is returned to you. This means striking back at those who have hurt you will never bring peace to you or your family's future generations. This includes disconnecting and closing your heart from the person who hurt you as a way of protection. Keep in mind, disconnecting is a form of punishment when a person who hurt you is in need of forgiveness and only you can give it. It is possible that you may fear going back to being powerless if you forgive to The important message is to forgive in order to break free from the karmic cycle of resentment. Break free, forgive yourself first. This is my experience. Forgive yourself first. But I don't agree with all of this because some instances are so unsafe. Some people are just so unsafe. If you're dealing with sociopathic, narcissistic, cult-like activity, I'm telling you, get out. Just get out and deal with, whatever walls you had to put up. Because in time, slowly, you'll start bringing those walls down. It is not safe. Some circumstances, some environments are just not safe. Okay, because this is saying go back. Don't go back if you don't feel safe. It's no different than someone who is in an abusive relationship, just get out, and I feel like about some Black folks are in some circumstances, you need to just get out and don't go back. Don't go back. No. Um, the universe, I just I don't buy that the universe will have you go back. It will be hard and there will be a lot of pulls to go back. Don't go back. It will not change. And if you go back, it's going to be uh, double worse. And it's going to take you triple the times longer to recover from. Every time I even had to be around certain people over like a funeral or something like that, it takes a long time to recover. In doing the work, you recover quicker, but yeah, that energy, no, it's vampirish. Don't expose yourself unnecessarily to a vampire or a vampire energy or a vampire environment. Don't do it. Mm. You can forgive yourself from afar, just like I'm serving from afar, because a lot of people are, embodying that vampire energy, and it's just like it's just too much. I just don't. I would have to spend all of my life just coping with no. So I just rather serve, help, not even help, just send out, beautiful energy, protection, wherever from afar. You will receive it as if I'm standing right in front of you. I promise you. Great. So things are progressing as it should now. Okay. Maybe these kids are out here were trying to prevent this message from occurring, but you're getting a perfectly imperfect video. And yes, I'm sorry it turned out to be long, but we are talking again about a 999 triple portal energy in September. That's the recap. 999 999 energy 3 times in September. Okay. 2025 breaks down to the number 9. So we are in the year of 9. September 9, 2025 is 999. 9 days later, on 9/18/2025, is another 999 portal energy. And then 9 days after that, on 9/27, is the third 999 portal energy. This thing is friggin' powerful. So I know I'm kind of all over the place and there's been a lot of distractions and things like that, but I promise you, just hang in there. I'll try and chop this up, chop out some of the unnecessary things, the distractions. I got a lot of distractions on this, but I just was not going to do it over because I had already poured the energy and the effort and everything into this, and even information, and it was just going to be too hard to repeat it, to duplicate it. So here we are. All right, so right now I was just trying to give you some information on the 999 energy, again doing another quick recap. The meaning of the 999 is a transition, because where there is an ending, which is what the number 9 represents, there is also a beginning. So Um, being less focused on the ending and more focused on the beginning. Less focus on the ending, more focus on the beginning. But you need to meditate. You need to journal, meditate, get out in nature, go to the beach or whatever, go into the mountains, take salt baths, um, yoga. What else? I said journal already. Breathing exercises, meditation. You need to do whatever it is you do to tap into your higher self, right? And get prepared for this because September is going to be super powerful. And we're talking about Virgo season. It will start off in Virgo season and end in because 9/27. At that point, we will be in Libra season. Um, so yeah, and Libra is about justice, which is tougher, which is yet another addition to this powerhouse month of September because it ends. September ends off in Libra season, which is these Libra is about justice and balance. This is very powerful. Okay, so again, do what you need to do to tap into your higher self and get the messages you need and start preparing for this 999 energy. The first one being 9-9, of course. Secondly, accept that the universe has a better plan for you. Release control because control is, kind of uh, what I want to say is it's not necessarily real. We don't really have the control we think that we have over things. So surrendering, that's a good word. Surrender to your higher self. Um, yes, there could be endings of jobs and relationships and homes. You might be releasing your home. You might say, I'm done here. I'm going to sell the home and move. And, it could be a lot of different things, right? Think of the 12th house and where, these things might fall into your house. Um, September, um, going into Virgo season. Virgo represents the sixth house. Sixth house represents day-to-day activity, work activity, it represents known enemies, it represents pets, it represents food or health, nutrition. Um, so bear that in mind. This is all happening with sixth house energy. Okay. And then the third meaning is the power of forgiveness. Again, I'm stressing forgive yourself, whatever the circumstances were that you were dealing with your wounds and your guilt. Bearing in mind that if your if you're still dealing with things from the past or the memories keep coming up, you keep getting flashbacks, that's probably a good indication that your physical brain has changed as a result of what occurred or the period of time that you were in that and you trying to cope. Your physical brain has been altered. So, paying attention to the amygdala, the hippocampus, the right front, the what is it? The right front pre-cortex or the pre-cortex front part of the brain, and also your whole nervous system. It, your hippocampus will shrink, your amygdala will be enlarged, it will be all flipped. And you have to manage this. So it's not as easy as what I was saying, is I just let it go. If you've done enough work or you've got, what my mom always used to say, you get tired of being sick and tired, you get sick and tired of being tired. That's how she put it. Yes, it could be like something just flips on in your brain and it's done. It's a done deal. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out kind of process. Um, but it's different for everybody. So one of the things I I kind of laugh at, but it's also very annoying that people do is like, they say things like, that couldn't have been me because I would have dealt with things this, that, and the other way. Well, the fact is you're not me, and maybe the way you would have dealt with it would have reaped a different result than the way that I'm dealing with it. Like, so stop saying that to people, right? Because it's not a flex. It just isn't. It's not a flex. You're capping. You're capping. So don't do that. Let's see. So yeah, forgiveness really, forgiving yourself. Also, this sometimes, or in this particular case, they're like encouraging people to go back and deal with things. You can write a letter, pour out all your heart and soul and everything you want to say in it and get it out your system and then burn it. That's a ritual. You don't have to subject yourself to what I am calling at this point sociopathic vampire energy or environments. You don't have to. If you don't have to, do not um, go back, because it is so much harder to recover from just a brief instance. But if you're doing the work, what I call the shadow work, day in and day out, you're devoted to this thing, you're very consistent with it, you will handle when these memories come back, when these flashbacks come back, you will handle it better. Okay. Okay, this is for me. Express who you were born to be. I love this, right? Go back to your most sacred inner being. The closest we were to our most purest self is when we were infants. So, yeah, do that. Be in service to something bigger than you. Yes, always have a purpose behind what you're doing. Um, so, why do you keep seeing nine? Well, all of us are going to be seeing 999 a lot. And I love this. You're being guided towards your best self. I love that. Okay. And yes, what you do today will create your tomorrows. Yes, but you know, we have room to work these things out. Okay. But you're basically what this saying is be mindful. What you're doing today will create your tomorrow. So just do the best you can. Be intentional about it. Um, have a higher purpose. Be true to yourself. Um, loving yourself with such intensity that filters out to the world around you. Okay. If you grew up in a household of hatred and things like that, you know, it's going to be harder because that air, that energy seeps into your pores, and then it gets seeped into the cellular memory. And this is where you have to deal. This is a case where you have to deal with the changing of your brain and things of that nature. But it doesn't mean you have to become what your environment was. So that's not set in stone either. Okay. Your makeup can say, I experienced that, but this is really who I am, and then move towards that. Okay. There's a lot here. 999 is a phenomenal number. I talked about the butterfly that had the design like the bat yesterday. It was yellow on top and blue, and it had the like bat design at the bottom. It was a huge butterfly, bigger than what I normally come across. And yeah, it was just like amazing to come across that. And it reminded me of Scorpio, which Scorpio represents the death card. In tarot, death is also the card of transformation. We're talking about transformation because transformation is endings and beginnings. Okay. And this is what the number 9 is what we're talking about. And the triple nines, triple times in September. All right. Um, Starting off in Virgo season, which is 6th house energy, and ending off in Libra season, which is 7th house energy. That's also Venus energy. Okay. Oh, by the way, since I'm mentioning planets, 6th house Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So that's communication. So it's going to be a lot going on in September as things unfold, as I get more information, as I get more downloads, I will come back and bring it to you. My apologies for all the interruptions. This is going to absolutely be the most imperfectly perfect video ever. If you can just withstand all of the stops and starts and things like that. I'm gonna try and clean this up. Literally a 3-minute video probably turned out to be an hour. So I'm not going to apologize. I'm just not, I just wanted to keep going because there were so many distractions out there that, where I could have walked away and just started over. But, you got imperfection here today, in every sense of the word, like I told you, like no makeup. So for this little bit of splash on my lips of lipstick, I'm in, post-wash braids, no earrings on today. Just literally, and I love my earrings. Actually, I could have had some earrings on today because there was a pair sitting right here, and that definitely would have made a huge difference. And earrings and femininity means a lot to me. So yeah, and it shows up very well in my video. So there's my earrings. All right, beloveds. It's so wild. I'm gonna look over this. I don't think I can reconstruct this. I'm just gonna do the best that I can. I can't believe the earrings were sitting there the whole time. I could have popped them in. Um, I love you. And thank you for loving me. Thank you. Thank you for trusting in me and respecting what I do, the way that I do it. Perfectly imperfect, that's kind of like a motto of mine, perfectly imperfect. So, beloveds, I'm out of here. Happy Moon Day. Be blessed. Be prosperous. Love yourself. I am looking out for you. I am sending beautiful energy out to you, healing energy out to you, protection out to you, all from afar. And you will receive it as if, somebody physically laid hands on you. So, and that's only if you receive it, but it is here for you if you need it. Ooh, I think I just rhymed. All right, peace, peace, peace. I love you.